Alright. What's up, everybody, and welcome back. We've got a massive series from Gamers8. SERRAL in the bottom right side, playing a Zerg vs Zerg up against Solar in the top left. It's Onside vs Basilisk, two rivals in the World Team League, and of course facing off in these big 1v1 competitions. Solar's opening up with a 12 pool, a nasty rush build to try and put some pressure on SERRAL on one of these smaller maps. And interestingly enough, he does build a drone afterwards and a second drone, so it looks like just a standard 12 pool opening. SERRAL's going to be going hatchery first on 16, so it's going to be about a bunch of slow Zerglings coming across the map and trying to destroy the hatchery, except that is a very odd gas timing. And normally seeing this, what I would be expecting out of Solar is basically to still take an expansion, just to make it look like you're expanding. Let SERRAL's Overlord see that. Start ling speed, pull off gas, and just basically, after your first 10 or 12 Zerglings, bank up 30, 40 Zerglings, and just do basically it's a one base ling flood with a fake expansion, because you don't even have enough drones to mine out of one base. So Solar's going to start putting on gas. He's got 6 lings rallied across this map right now. SERRAL, no idea this is coming, but SERRAL is usually absolutely unstoppable in these sorts of positions. He just annihilates them. He's just like, the number of times back in the day when SERRAL got rushed by Zergs who thought they couldn't take him in a macro game, and he just shut it down. Now, there is an argument that because of that, he's more used to dealing with it, and they're not as used to dealing with it these days, because no one's really been trying it on him in the last few years, very rarely. He might be out of practice, and oh my god, that is a Baneling nest. No ling speed Baneling nest. This is True's all in, last used, I think, 6 years ago in 2017. I don't think this has worked at top level in a decade. It's an insane all-in attack. But SERRAL will not have the information that this is happening until this Overlord gets in and sees no hatchery. He should pull into his main, give up his natural, and just build spines, I believe. He's going to pull drones to try and defend. Oh, but the hatchery goes down and tricks him. The thing is, that's a very late hatchery, so he should know there's like ling speed on the way or banelings. Does he see those banelings? He does. He sees the banelings. I think SERRAL needs to build a spine in that main base and get back up there right now. He's trying to fight these before the banelings finish, but if those banelings finish, they're going to ruin his day. That baneling's already almost done. 2 drones have gone down. He's managed to kill a couple of... No, he hasn't killed a single Zergling. Baneling does go off. These drones trying to fight along with these Zerglings. There's still one baneling left, though. Oh, great baneling hit. He manually detonated that. Even though it wasn't right on top of the Zerglings, it still took them out as they were all just barely in range. Solar trying to take an advantage numbers fight. He has to pull back whenever he's outnumbered, but a new Baneling comes in. There's 2 Queens out. Queens should be able to deal with this. Notice the Banelings and the Lings. The Lings are going to try and isolate the Queen. The Baneling separates it from the Zerglings. Great focus fire by Solar there. I think SERRAL needed to pull into the minerals with that Queen. But because he didn't, he needed to protect his drones, so he kind of felt like, oh god, I gotta run forward. But getting a Queen surrounded, that was the anchor that would have kept him safe in the next step. That being said, the rush is over. Solar has an expansion up. He's building his own Queen. He's up at 16, about to be 17 drones against SERRAL on 11 workers. This is a terrible scenario. This is an absolutely appalling scenario for SERRAL. It does not look good for him at all. Ooh, okay. He's going to have to just drone up, turtle up, and see if he can bring his way back into this game. The way you do this is by severely outplaying your opponent or by tricking them. Sometimes you'll see people rush like 1.5 base Mutalisk or something like that in SERRAL's shoes to try to get some sort of tech advantage. He is going ling speed right now. He's going to sneak 1 Zergling inside. The other Ling's on the natural, just going to back off knowing they can't really kill the hatchery and doesn't want to risk losing any more Zerglings than just this one. Definitely an issue there, though. When your opponent goes gas like that, it's kind of funny because I know that with the ling speed variations, a lot of players try to defend the expansion. Because they feel like if you let your expansion die, you pull back into your main, then you end up behind. But against the Baneling variation there, and I think just in general, 11 drones versus you being on like 19 drones or whatever it is that SERRAL was on, 19, 20, just not losing workers and defending your main base is usually good enough. It's not like, you know, you could say easier said than done. The fact is, Solar can't both go into your main, kill your drones, and also kill your expansion. So I definitely think pulling those drones to the low ground was a slight mistake for SERRAL. It made sense to do it at first, but the moment he saw that that hatchery had just started at 2 minutes, I believe he needed to pull back the Overlord. And I say I believe. I'm very kind of tentative in my commentary because I haven't played against this in so long. I haven't seen it very much in a while. I know Lambo is probably a bit more up to date and a few of those other Zergs on what they should do. I'm sure if I asked SERRAL today, he'd be like, oh, well, I've got to do exactly bam, 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 A, B, C to deal with it. But definitely one which has not been seen in a while. And Solar said, I am going to risk digging into my deep bag of tricks. We're going to pull back an old school build and see what happens. Lair finishing up in a moment. We will be seeing a very quick Spire for Solar. So remember I said a lot of players like to try to rush Mutas from SERRAL's position. Solar's like, I'm going to rush Mutas and then get wrecked. Like, there's not much you can do. And SERRAL built Link Speed and a Baneling Nest. What I don't like about SERRAL's follow-up is even though it's safe, it does make it hard for him to come back. And what I mean by that is basically like you're getting a lot of safety precautions. Ling Speed, Baneling Nest, but you're not really using them aggressively. So I feel when you've had a rough start like this, it can be really nice to like skip Ling Speed, skip Baneling Nest, go straight to Roaches. Or if you're going to go Ling Speed and Baneling Nest, do like a big surprise attack and try to get some damage done. Essentially, I want to see a little bit more gambling out of SERRAL. Right now he's trying to scout. And he is doing a pretty decent job. He does already know about the attempt for the third base as he saw a drone moving down there. Drone is moving down again. 45 workers to 36. The fact that SERRAL's still so far behind on workers is not good for him. And the Mutatech is going to be unscouted for now. Oh, this is so tricky for SERRAL. He's got a Roach Horde, but no Lair or anything like that. Does he try to go aggressive off 38 drones? He's saving Lava right now, but I don't think you can ever be successful with a Roach attack here. If he builds a bunch of Roaches, that's not going to be good. He's trying to poke with some Zerglings there on the left and the right. Okay, well, single Zergling on the left for the scout. Zergling, Baneling on the right. He tries to get in right now. He needs to see that Spire, and he's going to see it, but it's already almost finished. That's a pretty late scout. This is not the early scout that he was looking for. SERRAL is looking for a potential snipe on that Baneling. He gets it, and Solar pulls back to pull the ramp, saying, okay, I can't let him into my natural. I got to be careful, but these Banelings zoning him out. SERRAL going to get a snipe on this third base, it looks like. Very well done to find some damage. And notice he's droning really hard, building Queens and a lair behind it. He realizes that what you need more than anything against Mutalisks is a massive drone count, because you got to build Spore Crawlers, Queens. You're going to lose a bunch of units to the Mutalisk harass no matter what. This Overlord being, of course, the first free kill sitting on this side of the map. And that's definitely a tough position. I always say that if you scout the Mutas and you're already up 10-15 workers, you're basically like, oh, it's okay. I can absorb a few Overlord losses. I can build some Spore Crawlers, and we'll still end up pretty similar on economy after it's all said and done. But if you're down on workers when you scout the Mutalisks or even, then the Mutalisk player is way ahead. Even if you're up an expansion like SERRAL is, this is still a very tough position to be in. Third Overlord goes down to those Mutas, and Solar retaking the third base in a straight line. All right, Muta's moving down towards the natural right now. He's going to move back towards that third base. We've got 4 Queens there. And they push it away. SERRAL's got some Lings looking for a backstab in the north. He's up on 52 workers versus 53. He's doing a very good job of maintaining an even worker count and even getting ahead in the moment. But the reason is not because he's even. The reason is because Solar's going for a 53 drone Roach speed timing. In 60 seconds, +1, and Roach speed will finish, and Mass Roach is going to crash across this map, and it should be nearly impossible for SERRAL to hold. If SERRAL stopped at exactly even workers, did nothing but Mass Roaches, he might have been okay. He sees not many drones on the third. SERRAL's got to realize at this point, do not build any more drones. Going 6 workers ahead is such a big economy advantage. It's too much for this sort of game. He needs to do nothing but Mass Roaches because he's far behind. Normally, you could go up 5-6 workers in a ZvZ, build army, you'll defend anything coming your way. That's if you're even going into that situation. But if you're this far behind, you need to be extra careful. If your opponent masses units, you need to stop at the same worker count and mass units. I think 62 drones with 3 more in the way is just too many. I think SERRAL's being a little bit greedy. He doesn't realize that Solar was actually committing so hard to this 53 drone Roach timing. And Roach speed +1's about to finish. The Mutas are still getting damage, cancelling a Spore, getting 2 drones. I think this Roach attack wins the game. I don't see SERRAL holding this at all. There is almost no way. That is so much Roach Ravager, and it's just been a good opening. You gotta remember the lead was so good. He scouts the Roach Ravager now with the Zerglings. That's going to pull the trigger. Solar just starting to collapse across this map. 11 Roaches versus 26 Roach Ravager count combined. Oh my lord. That's double the Roach Ravager count for Solar. SERRAL does have defensive advantage. He's going to pull 4-5 Queens to the front. Here, the Muta's going back into the main base. They do sit in Spore range for a little bit. The Queen's going to go down and start to deal with that, but they're going to pick off a few drones there with their bounce damage. That's also going to deny one of the gases of SERRAL. You can see his gas count's already very low. He doesn't have many Ravagers here. Nice concave management for SERRAL, though. Look at that firing arc and the transfuses all across the front line. He's dodged all the corrosive piles and focused down a Ravager. Mutalisk in the main take out a Spore. They are starting to work on the spawning pool. The Spore Crawler at the front actually dodges the Corrosive Bile. SERRAL takes the first Corrosive Bile to the face, but his micro has been fantastic. He's still down about 15 to 20 army supply. His Roach count is also more wounded than Solar's. He's going to try to jump on top. He's got to be careful. He has to maintain position. But with his units rallying straight out into the fight, maybe he can hold. And if he can hold, he's actually potentially ahead in this game. Solar has started +2 in the midst of this, so he is working for an upgrade advantage, but being down on workers is not good for Solar. Solar needs more damage. SERRAL looks like he's going to be able to hold on here like an absolute monster. I don't know how you possibly do this. The Mutalisks coming in on the north, they're going to add some damage to this. They are starting to work on those queens on the north side. More roaches coming out, but SERRAL's just a bit too outnumbered right now. Those roaches of Solar, way too high in number. Banelings coming in. They're going to try to turn the tide in this fight by tanking a bit of damage as well as getting a little bit of splash. A few more roaches are coming out right now for SERRAL. And Solar looks like maybe just barely SERRAL holds his attack. SERRAL tries to focus the Ravager down there, but not quite able to get a great micro by Solar. That Ravager, a little bit of a jailbait Ravager, just baiting those roaches back and forth. The roaches coming forward here. The Queen's microing back. SERRAL trying to hang on. A single Mutalisk does survive. It's got 5 kills. Solar's going to keep that alive to fight another day. And he's still just rallying in. Let's look at the units lost tab. It's almost dead even. Shows just how good SERRAL's defense has been, considering he's been outnumbered from start to finish. It looks like Solar just might have enough. He might just barely have enough. These trades have still been good enough. I mean, he's down 7 workers, so he doesn't need more. A lot more roaches coming out. SERRAL actually with a big pop of roaches out of one of those lava injects. He pulls a few drones at the right time as well, just before his front line breaks. He's going to lose 5 or 6 drones. That does give away most of his economy advantage, but he's going to be able to hold, and Solar needs to get out of there now that he's actually quite outnumbered. A great defense by SERRAL. Amazing play by him. Dead even in the units lost. And as a follow-up, Solar says, well, I'm not going to drone, but I will take a 4th base. He's still doing nothing but massing Roach Ravager. SERRAL is doing the same. SERRAL right now, though, he's got a Ling Scout. He sees the 4th. He sees that 3rd base with only 1 gas on it. He knows, okay, surviving is the aim of the game. The problem is, guys, remember his gas got sniped. He's rebuilding it now in the main, but he lost those 3 drones and the gas to the Mutalisks. That is having a compounding effect because he cannot afford to start +2. +2 is already done for Solar. That's going to be a big advantage for him. And Solar's still a little ahead in army supply as well. +2 attack follow-up coming in. This is not good for SERRAL. His numbers are relatively even, and the concave might barely make up for the upgrade, but because he hasn't even started +2, he's in a very, very bad position the longer this goes. Solar's not getting in any worse of a position. He's actually got the 4th base, so he's going to transfer all those drones, whereas SERRAL, notice his natural's starting to mine out. He's got nowhere to transfer those workers to. He starts a 4th on the bottom, but it is about 50 seconds later. And still no gas to start +2. He's got 150 gas now. There we go. He's going to squeeze it in. He starts it up. Still got 2 minutes and 16 seconds until that kicks in. Biles do take out one of SERRAL's roaches. Solar doing a good job of evading the counter Biles, but he does lose one of his own Ravagers in the midst of it. Only 2 Ravagers for SERRAL right now. SERRAL does dodge a couple of corrosive Biles. Very nicely done. Even with slow Overlord avoiding the worst. There is an Overseer here scouting around. It would be good to contaminate one of the hatcheries, I would say, just to try and slow down the production of Solar might be the play. Solar's still up 12 army supply. He's still got that upgrade advantage. I'd love to see him use that advantage sooner rather than later. He's going to split off a few roaches to the north for a run by into the natural. He's going to go for a big attack on the south. SERRAL knows about it. His Overlord did see this movement. He's got a pretty decent angle. Does he have the numbers, though? Solar commits in nice and hard. Corrosive Bile zoning each other out. But look at that. The Roach run by tries to get in the natural. Oh, SERRAL's Roach moved out of the way, unfortunately. Slight mistake for SERRAL. Looks like the Queen's fighting these roaches. One Roach does fall for Solar. Takes out one of those Queens. Not the end of the world for SERRAL just yet, but it's distracting him. And that means Solar could try to push in the front. Solar is really trying to not overcomplicate this game. He hit SERRAL with a fancy attack at the start. Got himself a lead. The problem now is that he might just be trying to brick his opponent too much. +2 is going to finish for SERRAL. He's trying to squeeze in Burrow. SERRAL does squeeze a few drones. That's actually a mistake right now because Solar is completely all in on 50. It was 53 drones. Now it's 51 because he built a few more buildings. Like, Solar is not transitioning at all. He is just like, I make Roach and smash you. And he's got the numbers advantage. He's also still got +2 for another 50 seconds. He wants to force the fight right here while that upgrade has the most impact. And look at the way he focused those Ravagers on the south, breaking SERRAL's concave there. SERRAL's trying to drop some Biles. They completely whiff these Ravagers getting jumped on. SERRAL needs to pull back his whole position, I believe. Those Ravagers getting chased, even the Transfuse unable to hang on there. SERRAL's front line is getting cracked. And Solar doggedly committing. He says, why overcomplicate things? If a brick can break a skull, why would you bother with a stupid fencing sword? Why would you bother with a fancy scimitar? No, I pick up a brick, I break your skull. My name's Solar. And he takes game 1. GG. Let's do a little analysis here. Look at that Overlord. He's looking. He's very good. SERRAL should glance at it. If he doesn't actually look over there, then he never realized. Oh, SERRAL never looked at his Overlord, guys. Oh, that's a huge mistake. Okay, so let me point out what's happened. SERRAL thought, okay, if he looked, he would have seen that hatchery just started when he scouted it. But he did not look. Now, why is that important? Because on the minimap, it looks exactly the same. If he'd looked at it at this point, when the Overlord first saw it, he'd go, oh, that just started? And that immediately tells you, well, why didn't it start 35 seconds ago at a minute 20? Because a minute 20 is when a normal, or a minute 15, minute 20, about there, is when a normal 12-pool hatchery starts. Same time as a 16-pool into hatchery, basically. So why didn't it start then? Well, it's because he's got gas. If he's got gas, you've either got Ling Speed or Banelings coming in. Which means at this point, when you're pulling drones down, you can immediately say, hey, wait a second, don't pull drones down. Build a spine crawler, build some insurance, build some Zerglings. Like, maybe you can pull drones and try to defend the natural, but you're at least a bit more informed about exactly what you want to do. SERRAL never looked at that. So I guarantee you, he looked on his minimap and he said, oh yeah, there's a hatchery building. This is just a 12 pool. This is a gasless build. There's going to be 10 to 12 Zerglings looking to try to snipe my hatchery. That's not going to happen because I'll fight with drones. We'll have a bit of a skirmish back and forth. I'll try to preserve the hit points. And it's at this point where he goes, oh, there's Banelings? And he doesn't, I believe, respond correctly from here. I think he maybe thought those Banelings hadn't been morphing for very long. Thought he could get away with it. He does cancel one Baneling cocoon, but that's just not that good a fight, in my opinion. And that first Baneling gets a couple of drones and 2 Zerglings, I think it was. Let's watch that again. 3 drones. It hits 4 drones and 1 Zergling. 1 Zergling doesn't get hit. That drone gets hit by it, but doesn't quite die because it was on full life. Oof. Okie doke, guys. Let's go. We've got SERRAL in the bottom right side. And once again, what the hell? 12 gas for Solar. Solar has decided that there is one way to win this series, and that is aggression. And you know what? This is it's a slightly different response required. This is going to be a 12-11. This is the most all-in form of Ling Bane Rush in the game. I believe he's not going to build a queen. I think with this version, you're basically saying, I don't even have time to wait for a lava inject. I'm basically just going to rally Lings across this map off like 12, 13, 14 workers. Maybe 13 after he builds the Baneling Nest. Maybe only 12. And I'm just going to try and kill you. And the thing is, SERRAL didn't respond perfectly micro-wise last game. I think 100% you have to pull into the main against this. On the last one, technically he could have pulled drones and fought and just spread them better and spread his Lings better. And then kind of fought with his queens and just not lost too many drones and maybe worked out. I think going for the Baneling cocoon was a mistake for SERRAL in the last game for sure. But if he pulls and tries to fight against, this is going to be Ling Speed, then Banelings combined. Oh, actually he's pulling off gas. Also, it's just Ling Speed. Okay, so it's just going to be Ling Speed. If you try to pull drones, though, against Ling Speed, at 2 minutes 30 when Ling Speed kicks in, you're going to get swarmed, overwhelmed, and destroyed. The goal here should be, if you want to try and defend that natural, maybe you can do it, but you got to make sure you don't lose too many workers and get enough Zerglings of your own out. SERRAL has no idea this is happening. Oh, the firstlings will sneak across the map as well. He can sneak these 2 out as well. Yeah, so he can sneak 8 Zerglings across before SERRAL's Overlord seat. You can see SERRAL's vision starting to enter here, and you sneak 8 Lings out, and they're going to rush in from the north. They can surround the first few drones, maybe get the queen as it pops out of the natural. That could be a really good start. Solar starts an expansion as well to give himself some sort of production follow-up. This is only a 12 drone Ling flood. This is incredibly committed right now, and he's going to show his hand. SERRAL up on 21 workers. He starts 2 queens and 2 Zerglings, but he's in trouble right now. First drone takes a fair bit of damage. Solar says, screw that, let's go for the hatchery. Other drone does turn around as well. So far, SERRAL is looking okay. What's his response, though? Is there going to be a spine? He's not going to go a spine. He's going to pull a few drones to fight. Okay, he does. He starts a spine crawler in the main base. He sees that expansion is late this time. I'm sure SERRAL has looked at it this time. He's going to try and fight here, but he's only got 1 or 2 Lings out. He's trying to fight with just drones versus Lings. This is a horrendous fight for SERRAL right now. He did have 2 more Lings pop during the battle, but that was not many drones. That was a very very bad fight for SERRAL. He's now outnumbered with Ling Speed kicking in. As I said, 230 is the scary point against these sort of builds. He has a Queen and a Spinecrawler coming up, but he's already down to just 13 workers. SERRAL lost 7 drones, 6 Lings for only 3 Zergling kills. Nice positioning on the Queen. It's going to put her in the corner. If he focus fires, he could take out a few of these red hit point Zerglings. You can see she takes out 2 of them. The Queen comes down along with some drones and whatever Lings are popping. SERRAL's trying to make his own Ling Speed, which is very, very greedy. Trying to get to your own Ling Speed when I think everything should have just been spent on Lings here to defend, and I think he's trying to think a bit too far ahead in this game. Solar is pretty far ahead right now, and he has actually macroed up quite nicely. The thing is, you've got a Ling Speed advantage. I guess Ling Speed for SERRAL will help clean this up, but another drone goes down. The Ling's taking a massively positive trade. If he gets the Queen as well, that is an absolutely unmitigated disaster. SERRAL pulls the drones. They say, "Mom, we'll help, Mom! Mom!" And they do manage to defend her. 20 hit point Queen does survive. The Zerglings go down. As the dust settles, SERRAL is on 16 drones versus 20. He's got 1 Queen versus 2 going on 3. So, oh my god, the 3rd Queen is going to pop for Solar before the 2nd Queen even starts for SERRAL. SERRAL is also building 4 more Zerglings. He is far behind again, and he just did not pull enough drones. If he wanted to fight this with drones, I would have liked to see SERRAL pull a good 10, 12 drones. I think he pulled about, what was it, 8? It was not very many, and I think he should have just waited till a few more Lings pop before he fought. So definitely a big mistake for SERRAL. Bailey Nest does go down for Solar here, and it looks like he's massing Lings. So I imagine Solar hides these extra Zerglings. He just shows a few of them on the map. Looks like he did go around the top, though. That's like a little sneaky there. That like, you see that with your Overlord as SERRAL, you're like, why is he running up to the top of the map? Immediately a high-level player thinks, well, he's trying to morph sneaky Banelings. And now he's trying to deny my Overlord scouting. SERRAL's like, oh, 100% this guy's cheesing me. He sees the Lings. He sees the Bailey Nest on the way. He sees not that many drones. He sees more Lings popping out. SERRAL's trying to build a Roach Warren. He's going to try and wall off with a Roach Warren. A couple of Evos. He should kill that Creep Tumor with his Spinecrawler, I think. I would kill that if I was him. He's going to move that out of the wall. Oh, he's going to lock his Zerglings on the outside. Interesting. I mean, I think it's more important to just get hit points on this wall. If Solar's being spotted and yet he's not moving across the map, I don't know why Solar's taking so long to move across the map. It's a little bizarre from Solar. He's giving him so much time to get a wall off up. Oh, SERRAL runs his Zerglings into the Baneling. He cancels the Evo. What? What are we doing? SERRAL? Oh, and he just got blocked. He got blocked by the Queen. The Evo chamber got blocked by the Queen and SERRAL didn't even notice. You're kidding me. Oh, that was nasty. I did not catch that live. This is why I wanted to go over this series, guys. So here's what happens. Okay, so Solar does a 0 IQ, 300 IQ move in the midst of this, and it breaks SERRAL's brain. Let me point out to you guys what's happening. So at this point, SERRAL has seen that there is mass Lings in production, and he goes and Evo walls off. Very safe, right? And this is pretty damn solid. With a spine behind it, you can pull the 2nd Queen from the main when she finishes, and he could defend and maybe be back in this game, right? This is really cool. But then at this point, Solar just sits under the Overlord with like 20 Zerglings, which is a massive commitment, but for some reason he doesn't come across the map. And SERRAL starts to like overthink what's happening at this point. So watch this. We're on SERRAL's camera and he's like, why is he not moving? What's going on? And he's like, oh. And the thing is, so here's the internal thought process. In this moment of indecision, I want to explain to you guys, SERRAL knows he's behind in this game a lot. So he knows that if he fully walls off, and Solar's already gone back to droning and started taking a 3rd after building just 20 Lings, it's not good enough, right? He's still going to be too far behind. So SERRAL's like, oh god, if he's not committing, I need to get the money back by canceling the Evo and go back to droning right now because... oh god, like, because he's so worried about being behind 1 or 2 minutes from now that he doesn't. And the thing is, Solar is actually going back to droning. Funnily enough, by the way, he's built 4 drones just now. But basically, he overthinks this. So let's continue watching from SERRAL's view. So he cancels the Evo chamber to put the Queen in the wall. Obviously, that Queen is not a lot of insurance because she's only 54 hit points. He then looks back up. All of his Zerglings are dead. He goes, oh crap! It is actually a commitment. He then is like, oh, okay, pull the Queen out of the way, put the Evo down. But watch what happens here. Puts the Evo down, the Queen's blocking it for like half a second, and the drone says, I can't build that. I can't build that, boss. And you're like, what? He's like, I can't, it's too hard. She's already out of the way, literally a fraction of a second after the Evo tried to go down, and yet the drone loses the build order. Sometimes you'll see a unit try to build something, it's being blocked, it'll wait like 3 seconds, the other thing moves out of the way, and then it'll build. And you're like, yeah, that makes sense. But this drone was the laziest, slacking piece of crap drone in the world, where it was blocked for a fraction of a second, and it's like, nah, man. Nah. So let's watch that again, guys. Look at this. This is actual game speed. Tries to go down, queen's out of the way, already gives up. You lazy piece of shit. Don't get me wrong, it wouldn't have had a lot of hit points, so I do think the 3 banelings would have killed it very quickly anyway, but at least Solar would have had to pull his lings back, get the banelings in the front, maybe one of the banelings dies before it connects with the Evo, and you know, there's a chance. If SERRAL did let the first Evo finish, he would have been in a better spot. And that actually was a big mistake for SERRAL, right? Canceling the Evo chamber, even if it was just the 20 Zerglings that he'd seen from Solar, if he was going to cancel it, he should have done it this way, where he cancels it and immediately rebuilds it so that it can start banking up hit points. Because even if it's just 20 lings A-moving the wall, a queen with 50 hit points is not going to hold it. So this was objectively a mistake from SERRAL. But poo-poo happens. SERRAL was massively tilted after this, though. And here's SERRAL's face at that moment when he realizes that it didn't rebuild. Yeah. Just a classic twist to the head there. All right. Oh, man. What a bloody decisive beast this man has been today. It's Solar in the top left of the map. And he said, me have aggressive plan, me execute perfectly, and me win 2 games in a row. Now he needs to win 3 in a row to make the comeback happen. Definitely not impossible, but something where it does feel like SERRAL's been off by maybe 5% in these games, 10%, something like that. And against such builds with small margin for error, it's just enough to catch him off guard. And the thing is, as strong as SERRAL is, I don't think he's as emotional as like Reina or something necessarily. He does still, like any player, rely on having confidence. And when you lose a few games like this against strategies that you almost never lose to, it does shake your confidence a little bit. The test for SERRAL is to hit that reset button and just say, okay, I know exactly what I needed to do differently in game 1. I know exactly what I needed to do differently in game 2. Let's breathe, go into the next game with no assumptions. No assumptions whatsoever, just 100% focused, just play my normal game, play relaxed, and just do what I'm going to do. You could argue, you know, time to put on some counter pressure, put some harassment on, stop being on the back foot. For me, if I was in SERRAL's shoes, that would make perfect sense, because I'm better offensively than defensively, and I really need to get control of the game because my confidence is low. I need to be in charge. I don't want to be reacting when I'm down 0-2. I want to be acting. I want to be going first, try to get some plays going, put the pressure on my opponent, make them make some mistakes. The reason why I don't think this advice works for SERRAL is because that's not his specialty, and he actually feels much more comfortable defending. So I think the classic thing of, oh, well, defending's not working, you need to do something different, or you should go first. It seems like very good advice, and it's something a lot of the casual fans will say for SERRAL in a scenario like this. They're like, come on, man, you gotta go do that, come on. But you gotta realize that's a very bad instinct. To go away from your strengths as a player and what you've spent the most time practicing, play the styles that you've had a lot less time practicing in a high-pressure environment, rather than just make those small adjustments to your style. Just be a little safer. Don't fight with your drones as early. Be a little more conservative maybe on the defense. And, you know, you potentially can win both of those games. Just 2 games in a row where he's mismanaged an early rush. Now he's up against Hatch first. I'm sure there's people out there who are like, Solar, why are you giving SERRAL the opportunity? Keep attacking, man. Because you got SERRAL on the ropes. Don't give him a clean, calm macro game. That's where SERRAL excels. You know, don't let him get back in his comfort zone. But, you know, it remains to be seen what Solar throws out here on Dragon Scales. He's back 3 workers on gas. SERRAL's only 2 on gas still. It's actually a little slow to put that 3rd back on gas. It's probably intentional. SERRAL does like to prioritize those minerals, get that economy rolling. And Solar's actually been ahead early by 1 drone. Baneling Nest is ahead 3 seconds for Solar. Clearly the superior player. He's also killed a Zergling. Big brain, fast hands. Now, SERRAL's actually going to go for a Ling Bane pressure, guys. I saw him practicing this against the very easy AI before the series started. 12 Zerglings, and what he likes to do is send these 2 Zerglings in to scout the main and the natural, while the 12 Zerglings harass the third base, with maybe 1 Baneling morphing on the front as well. At most 2 Banelings. Very, very light. But he's actually going to commit Banelings on the run by on the left. That's different to how I saw him warming this build up. So he's not going to go for the scout. He's going to go for the damage. And that could be very effective because that's a super quick Roach Warren. Solar is planning to basically do Lingbane pressure of his own to keep Serral busy and then surprise him with a giant Roachling Bane all-in that hits off just 28 workers. This is a very aggressive build from Solar. The Baneling's coming in. The Baneling's coming in. The Ling's on the third. The Baneling does see a very empty mineral line, but was Serral actually watching? Did he see that? If he noticed the empty mineral line with only like, that is way more sparse than his. Look, his natural's overflowing with drones. That natural is only half full. He should know, if he looked at that Baneling, that this is actually a big all-in from Solar, and if he just builds roaches, maybe builds a spine crawler here, he should be fine. He's built 3 more drones. That is really pushing it. 42 drones. He builds another 2 to 44. This is too many workers. He now sees the roaches. I don't think Serral saw that. I don't think he saw the saturation on the natural. If he did, he would have been able to react in time. As it is, I think what he's got to do is he's got to give up the third. Very smart move. Build an Evo chamber here, pull behind his wall with his Queens, Lings, Banes, and wait for those roaches and a spine crawler to get finished. This spine crawler is very far forward, though. I think he needs another spine. He's out of money right now. He's trying to build roaches. He has not walled off his natural. That spine crawler is very exposed. He's going to send his Lings to try to backstab, but he's only got 2 Banelings of his own here. Those Banelings need to survive to stop the Ling flood collapsing in here. Oh no, the Banelings went forward and died. Oh, Serral, he's getting overrun. He's lost his Banelings, which means the Lings can collapse on top of him. They can surround the Queens and the Zerglings. His own Lings coming in from behind, but the Banelings of Solar do a great job of blasting them over there. Serral's going to pull drones. Nice surround on the ramp for Serral, but these Lings are going to rip those drones to shreds. He needed Banelings here. He needed to buy himself just 10-15 seconds to get these roaches, Queens, and the spine together, but Serral did not wall off the front. He thought he had to defend his third base. He was way too far up in workers. He did not have the early warning of this that he needed, and that is going to cost him because Solar is still flooding Lings in, and every time he surrounds 1 or 2 of these roaches on their own, it's so hard for Serral because look, every time one of these roaches comes in the open, they get swarmed. They get swarmed. Serral might just barely be able to defend. He's still up 3 workers, but remember, he's lost his Queens. He doesn't really have the production. He has to just keep building roaches because he doesn't have the lava to build Zerglings here. But oh my god, more Lings coming in from the left. The drone's being forced off the line. That hero drone trying to hold the choke point there, but he pulls away. The Ling's getting a massive surround here. The roaches of Serral trying to hang on, but they are outgunned and outmanned. The roaches keep just getting surrounded individually and dying. Ling's so good when they can isolate the roaches like that, and Solar takes a devastating 3-0 victory, reminiscent of that one time when Rogue beat Serral in 15 minutes in a best of 7. That's insane. This is actually so unfortunate for Serral that he didn't choose to do the variation that I saw him doing in practice, guys, in warm-up. Because if he didn't morph Banelings, he sent these in as Zerglings, he 100% sees everything that's going on and can react in time. He went for a little bit more of a surprise damage option this game, and technically he got enough information, but of course, barely. Let's watch his camera. Yeah, I don't think he processed what was happening. Maybe a bit too thrown off from the previous games, because his camera's over there. He goes and looks at this Baneling. That was a big tell. Why was there 5 lava that all turned into roaches at once? Number 1. Number 2, look at the top of the screen. Let me get rid of this top overlay. He does see that mineral line. But the thing is, guys, this is a fraction of a second. I don't think he processed what he just saw. I think Serral's already a bit thrown off, a bit tilted. He's not as equanimous as he normally is. Equanimous? Equanimous? I think it's equanimous. He's not as calm and kind of all-seeing because he should have seen that mineral line and known that is not this. You've been aggressive. You should have less drones than him. Why does he have so many less drones than you? That's just a big mistake for Serral to not notice that. If they were Lings, he would have been more focused on scouting and more looking around. He definitely would have seen it. And of course, stopping drones immediately here. Stop at 40 drones, start a second gas so you can build more roaches. Definitely the roach warren's important. Build a spine crawler. If he stopped droning and did all that, I think he actually gets out his units in time. Because if he builds like 8 roaches the moment the roach warren's ready, I think they pop in time just barely to defend this. Roaches build pretty quick. Let's check the timing on that. He'd still need to buy a few seconds with this roach warren timing. He'd still need to buy a few seconds. But you can see like 1 roach starts, then 4, then 5. And he's obviously built like 4 or 5 too many workers here. So yeah, Definitely losing the Banelings was a huge one as well. The Banelings, their job is not to engage. Their job is to pull back and just survive, to force Solar to keep his Zerglings back. As long as your Banelings are a threat, his Zerglings need to keep running away whenever your Banelings run forward, but you cannot let the enemy Roaches focus you down. And like I said, Evo walling here would have bought him a lot of time.